Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another amazing episode of your favorite podcast, the world's number one source for good news, wholesome stories, positive stories. Yes, I'm talking about the Good Service Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Dunham. For those of you joining us for the first time today, welcome. We thank you. As I said, we are your source for good news, wholesome stories, inspiring news around the good services that nonprofits and other service-based organizations are doing within their communities to make this world a better place, to serve the people in those areas, to make their lives far better and far greater than what they are current state. That's nonprofits, charities, fundraisers, foundations, even some for-profit companies with missions to serve and really do beautiful things and the impactful work. So we're here to share their stories with you all across the world. So we thank you for being here. For those in the community, a part of our Good Service family, welcome back as always. Thank you for continuing to grow with us. Thank you for coming back, liking, sharing, subscribing, referring, all of the things, the comments, whether it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you. You're what drives us. You're who we do it for. So we're so glad that you're here. Enough about me, enough about us. You know who I am. Let's talk about today's guest. Let's talk about today's guest in this conversation. Today on the Good Service Podcast, we are honored to welcome Evalye Alexander, a powerhouse in both professional development and community impact. Evalye is the founder and CEO of Community Outreach and Advocacy Corporation, also known, the acronym, as COAC, a nonprofit dedicated to tackling food insecurity, homelessness, and other challenges faced by underserved communities in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. Beyond her nonprofit work, she's a celebrated career coach, a resume expert, a corporate trainer with a proven track record of helping thousands secure life-changing opportunities. She's also named one of Atlanta's top 15 career coaches and was recognized for Marquise's Who's Who. Evalye's mission is rooted in education, empowerment, lasting change. From crafting over 4,500 career-winning resumes to feeding and mentoring youth, she bridges ambition with action. And today, we're diving into her inspiring journey and the heart of her community work. So let's jump in and give a warm welcome, a loving welcome to the one and only Evalye Alexander. What's going on? Welcome to the Good Service Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Joseph. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I am so just in awe of everything that you're doing, and I'm happy. I'm happy to let's get started. Let's roll. Let's do what we do. Let's help some people now.
Do it now. Yes. You know, something. I can
Yeah,
get
a little
that.
something. Okay.
No, we're so excited to have you here. Long overdue, but again, I believe in divine timing, and so this is the right time for this conversation. And so, for those of you who don't know, or are here for the first time, watching or listening, I always like to share how I got to know our guest, and this is a shout out to, I guess, Meta and Instagram. Not really.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
I was on Instagram scrolling, and I'd seen a flyer last November for your organization. You were doing a feeding with TC's Kitchen, which is a food truck. Shout out Chef TC, my guy. Immaculate food. If you're ever in Atlanta and you have an event and you need a vendor with a food truck that can do it all, you better call TC's Kitchen. It's not a paid ad. And he don't gotta pay for the ad. No. I'm telling you, go. You call that man. You find that man.
He throws down.
I saw that it was in Woodruff Park, not too far from the house, and I was like, wow. You know, I would love to one, meet you and learn more about the organization. And so I didn't find anywhere to sign up, and I just saw the time. I was like, hey, I'm gonna come and show up, and just put me to work. I'm here to serve. And that's literally what happened. Pulled on up. You all were setting up everything, the tables, the waters, this and all the different things that you had going on that day for our shelterless neighbors. And I remember, there was some sort of additional package on the way, and the driver was predominantly speaking Spanish. And Tiffany's on the phone. Shout out to the one and only, the GOAT, Tiffany Oakley. I know you're going to watch this. I know you're going to listen to this. I know you remember this moment because this was when it's like, did we just become friends? Yep. And you're like, does anyone speak Spanish? And I just took the phone, and we got the guy there with the order of all the extra things. And it was a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. And from then, we've been locked in. So, and, keeping an eye and tab on all the amazing things that you all have been doing. So that is how we met, is, the flyer and then me pulling up, and just, it was that moment,
I love that you pulled up, honestly. I mean, normally when we get out there, we typically we know who's coming sometimes. And so when you said, "Hey, I found your Instagram," I was like, "Oh, snap. Look at something happening on Instagram." For
Right.
us. I love it. And so, you came and you did your thing. You really kind of got in there and helped us with, even navigating a lot of the challenges that day. Just with community events, you never know what's going down. So we appreciate you. You did exactly what you had come to do, and we were so gracious and so thankful for all of the help, because you stayed for a good bit, right? I don't know if you got a chance to feed and all that too, because it was so much going on. I started to kind of get lost in the mix with everything. So
It was
thank
a
you.
beautiful event. Beautiful event.
Yeah.
And yeah, I stayed the whole time. I'm not sure
Yes.
if you remember this, but when I was looking for you, but I didn't know you were you, and you and
Yes.
Tiffany, and I'm like, hey, who's in charge here? Because I just want to introduce myself and be put to work. And you and Tiffany looked at me like, you look oddly familiar, and I'm like, well, we've never met. I have no idea who you ladies are.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, I'm the CEO, I'm the founder. And I'm like, you're the person I need to be seeing.
I do
And
remember that.
Tiffany, the boss, oh man, the enforcer.
Yes.
Too good,
Yeah.
too good. That
Yes.
that's
It's
crazy.
good.
It doesn't feel like that long ago.
It wasn't, but it just, I mean, we're literally coming up on a year since
Yeah,
then. These
yeah.
years come by and they fly so fast when you're having fun, when you're doing God's work, you know what I mean? So
Talk about it, man. Talk about it,
that's it.
man.
You got to continue to do God's work. And so that's what we sit in it, we sit in and really get into that. We really do. So yeah. It
Mhm.
was good. Good. I'm so glad we met you. I'm so glad you've been on this ride and you've been on this journey, and you're a constant resource and help. And so I love it. I love it. I love it.
You have the
God
full
is so good.
support
Yeah.
of Joseph
Joseph.
Dunham, the full support of the Good Service Podcast, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
Um, if I
Thank
have to
you.
say no or not right now, I will. But
Yes.
I'll say yes. I know I'll say yes. If there's a will, there's a way. So we'll talk about
Yeah.
that in a little bit. But
Okay.
um, no, it,
Yeah.
I think a great place for us to start, Evalie, is the whole origin story. Who are you? How'd you become top 15 career coach in Atlanta, having a successful nonprofit organization that does so many beautiful things and connects and is such a connector too. So where does your story start as a professional, as a mother, to where you're at today of you know, being the
Yeah.
trailblazer you are?
Yeah. Well, so I always tell people, um, I can't tell a story about COAC, and I'm going to just refer to my organization as COAC because our organization's name is very long. And that's another story that God had to work with me on. Anywho, but I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I'm a true Grady baby. So, and shout out to my true ATL people out there who already know East. The East Side is the greater side, Decatur, where all day. I came into this world, and I start all the way back because I like to show really how God's hand was on my life. I have a identical twin sister. We are adopted. And God really began to work in my life when I look back, just how he had his hand over our lives and how he took us from a situation that we had no clue. We had no clue that there were a lot of familial challenges and issues that he was already protecting us from our biological families. And so he graced us and placed us in with my mom and my dad, who are just, they have been the most amazing forces in my life. I am not who I am without them. They gave me and my sister such a phenomenal foundation. My mom and dad are the backbones of why I can say I do what I do. I grew up very much in a humanitarian space. You know what I mean? And honestly, I just love to do it. I love to give back. My mom is a part of a lot of organizations. She is the retired DeKalb County Tax Commissioner. And, you know, I watched her. She's a very hardworking, very prayerful woman. And a lot of the boards that she sat on when I was growing up, they were always out in the community, always doing humanitarian work. We were always helping young children. We were always feeding. We were always providing toys to children who had cancer. And back in the day, uh, children's healthcare was called Scottish Rite. So if you truly from the ATL, you kind of know Scottish Rite was a staple for children back then. And so we would go to Scottish Rite and we would give toys to the babies that sat on the cancer ward. And so there were a lot of things that I did growing up that kind of led me to where I am. In my adulthood phase, I started doing work on my own. I would leave my families on the holidays and go downtown with Hosea Feed the Hungry, and you know, we'd feed. I'd go to the jails. I'd feed. It just became a love and a passion. But it was really just that. You know, I have a background, a 20+ year background in higher education, and so my 9 to 5 is looking like, you know, I'm working with students and I'm doing financial aid and I'm in academia and you know, I'm doing career coaching and all of that. And so it never dawned on me that I would ever do this kind of as a thing. You know, I did it because I love to do it. And that's really, you know, where some of the impetus kind of started. It wasn't until about 2019, and I'm skipping a lot of the story just for time's sake, but it wasn't about until 2019 I'd had a crazy mental breakdown. um, and it had been brewing. I am very, very blessed to say that I am a two-time suicide attempt survivor, and it wasn't until that second suicide attempt that God had to really do a work in me. You grow up all your life, and like I said, I have a phenomenal life. There are no issues. My family gave us everything we wanted. Sometimes when you hear stories of adoption and fostering and people being in the system in some kind of form of shape or fashion, those stories don't tend to be so favorable. My family wasn't like that. They gave my sister and I everything. We went to church. We traveled the world. We were world travelers by the age of 13. We were involved in so many things. So there wasn't anything that would link to that in the natural sense, right? Most people think that depression tends to come from familial background, maybe familial history of abuse or trauma or something of the sort. And when I break it down, there's so many facets because the enemy always knows, right? The enemy always can sneak in through any portal, any crack, and it really can play on your weaknesses. And so in 2019, I had a crazy, crazy breakdown. I'd already been feeling it. I was a person that if there were things that bothered me, I would keep it in, right? Just constantly sweep things under the rug, never letting anybody kind of know. There was this face, this facade that I wanted to keep up because I look a certain way. I'm from a certain place. I have a my life is good, so I can't
Hmm.
let anybody know that I'm falling apart, crumbling mentally. And that's really what was going on inside. Inside, the enemy's voice was so loud. It was so nasty. It was so loud. It was so vitriolic. And it there was so much hate for myself and who I was. I dimmed my light in so many forms of fashion. I let people lead my life, tell me where to go, tell me how to do things. And I was on the front end of never saying no, which is what we talked about earlier. Never saying no. Just trying to be a people pleaser. People pleasing will lead you down a path that you never want to go. And being in the people pleasing space, I lost myself. Being married and having kids and doing all of that, you have to begin to give pieces, if not some of your entirety, to these little ones, and you forget who you are. So in 2019, this is a year after my second son was born, or my second child, really. It was September the 10th. I walked in my house, and I knew that that day was the day. Without going into too many details, I began to take pills to really, really, really end it. And I'm going to pause there because one key thing about that day, two key things about that day, in the moment of doing it, when you are somebody who understands spirituality, Joseph, and for anybody listening, for those that are truly um, intertwined in the spiritual world, and you know that good and evil exist all in the same space, you know that the enemy and any demonic forces exist with good as well. And so when you have that in your head, you have all of that going on. You have the nasty, you don't deserve to be here, you're not a good mother, you're horrible, you who are you to help people, you're a nasty woman, your husband doesn't love you, your kids don't love you, they're better off with somebody else. You have that right here. But then you hear a little itty bitty voice, right? And it's God. And it's so little that you would question it. Um, and when the enemy takes you like a stronghold and literally pulls you where you can't stop, I can't stop giving myself the pills. I can't stop, the thoughts. I can't stop. I couldn't break free. And it was just such a battling because I wanted to live, but the enemy wanted me to die. And I had battled for so long that I just wanted to give up. And in that moment, after the second pill that I took, I heard God's voice clear as day. And he yelled, he said, "Stop. I have so much more for you. Stop. There's more on the other side." Um, and it was just that voice alone that just it allowed me in that small instance to literally call my sister, who at that time lived down the street from me. And I don't know how she got to my house in like 5 minutes. I mean, she technically is 10 minutes, but I don't know how she got, it felt like she got there so quick. And she just threw the pills off of the nightstand, and she just cradled and she rocked me. And she called my husband because I'd been calling him, and I told him he'd be better off, he'd have a better wife, he'd be a better husband to someone else, he'd be a better father without me here. I'd already said all that morning to him, and he was like, "Whoa, where's all this coming from?" So I remember when he came in and he saw me, and he had this look on his face like, "Okay, I got you," right? And so those two pulled me up out of that space, and I cried and begged them not to take me to a mental institute because I knew I was off bad, but I was still trying to hold face. I was still trying to, for whatever reason, that the mental illness in me was trying to continue to stay there. And I remember just after that incident alone, right? I asked God, and at that time, I wasn't praying. God wasn't missing. I just wasn't seeking Him. Uh,
Mm.
I that's the key, right? I wasn't seeking Him. He was always there. I prayed to God, and I said, I don't know if I'll ever get through this, but if you get me to the other side of this, I promise, I promise, I will be the light that you are needing me to be, right? I I asked God um, to really give me the resources to get up out of that, and that was 2019, and I literally started to just kind of do all the work. I started going to my therapist, my psychiatrist, my psychologist, and my therapist and my doctor. I had a team. That was the key. I had a team of people to help me. I started to get on medicine. I started to have talk therapy. I started to have my blood drawn to see what was causing some of the off balances, because this was the second suicide attempt. So my depression that I had been experiencing had been at that point long standing. It was over 10 years at that point that I'd been experiencing deep, deep battles of depression. And I am a very high functioning individual, so nobody knew because I never told anybody. So when that part happened, still nobody knew. I was still trying to keep it hush. But in those moments, when I started my therapy, I was driving one day and God said to me, this was 2019. So this was September. So he told me, he said, start a nonprofit. I said, I what? Like at this point, I've done everything that everybody says is the right way, the American dream. I go to college. I got a bachelor's degree. I then get married. And in this order, I then get married after 10 years with my boyfriend, who was my college sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? After 10 years, we have two beautiful babies after that. You know what I mean? I am on this trajectory. I'm in this position in my 9 to 5 at a corporate level, on a national level, overseeing 23 campuses all across the nation. And you asking me to do what?
Yeah.
So
Where does this fit?
that's
Why me? How me? What me?
and why me? Why
Me
why me?
again.
What you mean? What, you know what I mean? And I said, and when he said it, I was like, okay, I I knew at that time, because I'd been training myself a little bit to understand when I hear a little voice that wasn't that loud, vitriolic voice, that was God. And so I said, okay. I said, well, God, I don't know anything about a nonprofit. Like, I have nothing. I don't even know what the name would be. Like, what are you even talking about here? you know? So, a few weeks later, I'm going to the farmer's market. Anybody know? Shout out to the Cab Farmer's Market. Go driving to the farmer's market, and I'm passing a building. He says Community Outreach and Advocacy Corporation, and I said, "Well, that's the name." I said, okay, okay. I said, so I I have a name, but how do I get started? God then literally over the next few months started to put pieces of the puzzle
Mhm.
together. You know what I'm saying? He just started to, like, because I was obedient, because I started to follow, he gave me the name, he told me to start it, and then he said, okay, now I'm going to teach you what to do in order to make it official. Most people who start nonprofits, if you don't know anything about a nonprofit, it's one thing to get the name, right? You can go to the state, especially in Georgia, the name and all of that. Starting a business takes, what, a week, 4 weeks at very max, right? It's not that bad if you know what you're doing, right? But then in a nonprofit space, to get the 501c3 status, it can take up to a year to get the 501c3 status, right? And for some people, it literally takes a full year.
Mhm.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I followed what he said. I followed the instructions. I did my own research. I trained myself, and I got my 501c3 within a month. Once I learned the back end of how to do it. I got it within a month, and I said, okay, so now I can do something because now my organization is fully formed, and through that time, God had been working with me. Tell me, he was telling me who I needed to work with. You've always worked with the unhoused. You've always worked with those people who are underdogs, people who are considered the voiceless individuals. You've always done that. And so he had brought a lot of that back to my remembrance in a way that came kind of full circle. I said, but God, I like doing that. Just kind of, that's like my, it fills my cup, but it was my side thing. It wasn't my main thing.
It wasn't,
you know,
the main thing. It
it
wasn't the
wasn't
main
the
thing, it
main
was the
thing.
side thing.
That
How about
side
that?
thing. And so it was like, that's okay. He was like, but I'm asking you to help my people. And so I did all the things that he said to do. I posted at that time. I not on Instagram. I still struggle with Instagram, just to be transparent. But I got on Instagram and I put a post out. And this is all 2019. Literally. It was such an interesting year. I literally put a post and I said, "Hey guys, I started a nonprofit." Just because that's, I had my logo and I just was like, "Oh, I'm so excited." You know, had my logo. A young lady, shout out to Wanika Jackson if she's listening. She and I at that time had worked 10 years ago together in the same building, same space, right? She at that point worked at Teach for America, and I think she was a director. She reached out to me and she said, "Hey, I'm looking to grow our community space for Teach for America so that we can, start to help a lot of the children that were, considered at risk." That's what Teach for America does. They work in these. I don't know if they're Title I schools or something like that, but they work in schools that typically have a lot of at risk children, and that was like a midnight, and I said, "Sure, I will. Let's set up a meeting, and I'll call you." This is like literally my first meeting ever in the nonprofit space. And that meeting turned out to be a wonderful partnership. Long story short, we got a partnership with Teach for America. We worked with one of the elementary schools that were with under the Teach for America branch, and shoot, by the end of 2019, by the end of 2019, top of 2020, we helped and fed over 600 students or babies within that school. We did toy give back. We did turkey giveaways for veterans. I mean, it just kind of took off, right? Because when God has something for you, it's kind of like all you had to do was just come to the table. It was already right there. It boom, right? And so that's how that story began. You know, we took a small break and during COVID came, and that wiped us out because we were in the school system and schools weren't accepting students and nobody was in there. And it took me a moment but I was so into what God is telling me to do. So I was like, okay, well, God, if it's meant for me to go out into the community at this time of COVID, um, then please let me know. But if it isn't, I would love to sit and do um my 9 to 5 because I really just didn't know. I had no clue. I had no clue what to expect. I don't think anybody in the world knew what to expect.
No
Um,
clue.
no
No.
clue.
Well, it's a conversation we don't have the time to get into.
Yes.
I was living in Chicago where it was actually locked down, and then I
Yes.
moved here.
Oh, and it was wide open down here.
So again, the South is not real. Atlanta is not a real place. It was just like, what's going on? So
I said, "This I'm not outside. I'm not gonna be outside because I see those outside people and they're still heavily affected by COVID and they're still catching it, and it's not at that time everybody was dying. They didn't really know what to do, and so I continue to do what I do, and then one day in 2021. because that was about a year. COVID was about 2020 and some change. And even though Atlanta was all the way outside, I was like, okay, well, I have to come outside at some point, right? So 21 came around. The world was still inside, but Atlanta was very much out. I asked God, what do I do in this space? Like, I want to pivot because how do I take my community interest and put them online? We now see at this point, we see how the world has changed. We see what's
Yeah.
going on. We see that the new way of being is now online, and I didn't know how to do that. I was like, how do I help people from an online standpoint, right? This was in this moment that I realized everything that I had done in my 9 to 5 was just for this moment. God prepares you along the way, and when it's time for you to utilize all of the skills and things that He has already gifted you with and graced you with, and put you in position to learn, then you realize really what that was all for. Sometimes it's for bigger purposes. And so in 2021, I had to pivot. I'm not a business major or anything, but I had taken pride in knowing and how to do operations, and instilling protocols and processes and being very strategic. Being in a corporate space at a national level and overseeing 23 campuses, I had to be that way. I had to learn to be that way, but I just thought that was just for my 9 to 5. When 2021 came, He said, get online and call yourself a resume writer. Now, mind you, at this point, I'd been the manager of career services at the school that I was in. I was in the corporate space doing all the things that were under the bracket of student affairs, which was career coaching, the students for different degrees. It was academics. It was financial aid. It was organizations, helping put organizations together, board organizations together for student boards and things of that nature. It was a lot of that. And he said, get on LinkedIn and call yourself a resume writer. It was like a Tuesday at 6:45. I always tell this story because it was so crazy and so random. And when he said it, I was like, okay, sure, hence how the freelancing piece began. Once I put that on there, I think I began to get a client. I think my client came on the Thursday after that Tuesday that I put on it. No branding, nothing. It was just, hey, I offer resumes and, LinkedIn optimizations and all of that. And I started getting clients. And that then opened up a door that I didn't even expect. First of all, if nobody's on LinkedIn, or if you are on LinkedIn and you're not posting and doing the things, LinkedIn actually changed my life. I really didn't expect to get what I got from LinkedIn. I was just helping people. You know what I mean? Just helping people because I know, just helping people. So
that's what you do.
That's what I do. That's just my nature. And so, after about a good bit of, I can think we at that point, we generated maybe 100 clients until the top of 2022. Top of 22, close to top of 22. At that time, God was doing a lot. He was doing a lot. I had a vision. And in this vision, he showed me this young woman in this vision. And he said, this young woman is going to reach out to you. When she reaches out to you via LinkedIn, I want you to be prepared. And that was my first time kind of getting a vision in that way. And I was like, well, all right. Well, God, you've done everything else so far, so I'm going to trust you. So Joseph, when this young woman by the name of Lucretia Davis, shout out to all those that know Miss Lucretia Davis. I mean, Lucretia, boy, what the actual GOAT. She had this program at the time um, that helped people, become more visible on LinkedIn. And she helped with their businesses and kind of getting certain back end processes together. And she was working with a lot of career coaches and resume writers at that time. And long story short, with her, I ultimately got into her program. When I first spoke to her, and I didn't have the money when I first spoke to her, I was like, ooh, first of all, I wasn't prepared to invest in myself. I didn't know what investing in yourself looked like, so I wasn't prepared to invest in myself.
Another conversation we can have another time because folks don't know. You
Yeah,
just don't know what you don't
you just
know.
don't know. That was the biggest investment, and now you can't get her like that. Now she's that 30,000 mastermind class type of girl where it costs that much or something just to be in her presence. And so at that time, it wasn't that, but I still didn't have the money. I was like, I got clients, but the way my money is set up, I still didn't have. I, I still didn't have the money, and so it took me a few months, but then one day God was like, go back to her page and take a look at her class. I took a look at her class. It literally, Joseph, I kid you not, um, the price point was the exact amount that I had in my bank account for the business, because I took pleasure in not mixing my 9 to 5 with business income. So in for the business, I had the exact amount for her class, and I went ahead and paid it out right, and it was I think it was an 8 week course where she literally full makeovers. I had to stop everything. We stopped just all the resume clients. She gave me the back end, the tools on how to build my processes, my protocols, what my systems look like. Knowing that Google and Excel wasn't gonna be just it. Like I couldn't just do it that way. She gave me just the tools on how to really amplify a CRM system and learning how to put those tools into place, having a point of sale system, and just having a process. Here's how this works, and here's what you should. Here's how you really should be handling your clients in order to be successful. Here is how you should be on LinkedIn. Here's how you should post. I mean, it was just so thorough.
Everything, yeah.
And it was so thorough, and I learned so much. Came out after that program, hit the ground running. um I mean, that kind of took the lid off of the bat out of off of the jar. You know what I mean? It was podcast interviews, articles, there were clients that I didn't. You paying that much for a resume? Oh, okay, I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know. Cool, come on in. Because what that then did was allowed me to see how I could take the Good Resume Project, which is what we called it, to the Good Resume Project, and use it for
Love the
service.
name, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, great minds think alike with the Good Service Podcast. You're getting, not only are you going to get a good, career document or good career documents, but you're going to be doing good in the community. And people love that because there are people who just want to help. They just want to be a part of something. And so,
That
um,
part for
they
sure.
just want to change a life. You know what I mean? And all the proceeds that I ever got from the Good Resume Project began to funnel and grow the COAC. It began to grow our community outreach efforts. It began to put just those pieces of the puzzle together that I really was kind of struggling with because of COVID and trying to figure out. I was still new to it, right? I was still new to it. So um, the Good Resume Project did wonders. It did wonders. It introduced me to partners. I began to have conversations that opened the doors to how COAC to this day interacts with universities and corporations, and just I started to see the bigger picture of where God was taking COAC.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. And those were moments that literally changed the trajectory of what we do and how we do it. And you know I know that was like a long intro. but but
It was not-
that was like the
it was exactly what it needed to be.
that's the impetus for
Exactly what it needed from exactly who it needed to come from. Oh my
yes.
goodness. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So yes,
Yeah. I know. That was a lot. But
it was so good and so real, so vulnerable to you. This is your story,
yeah.
you
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
Someone or many people that watch this episode, listen to it, are going to feel seen,
Mhm.
are going to have that sense of hope and sense of faith that you exemplify and that you amplify in your story. Uh, so it, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
long winded, short winded. No, we here, and it was that's how things go down at the good service. It goes down how it's supposed to go down. And you know, you did say a lot, but I was listening. So I have some questions, of course, for you around some incredibly pivotal moments for you. Um, and I want to, before we get there, high level, share with the people, because I don't know if they were able to catch everything. Obviously, I've done the research, so I know, and I've
Yeah.
worked alongside you, so I know the different components and programs that you have. But you have COAC Feeds, the
Yes.
Good Resume Project, and
Yes.
COAC Cares.
Yes. And more recently, the Empower Her career program. Yeah.
Of course,
God has been working. God has been working. Our programs, obviously they didn't start out that way. I had to learn programming. I learned programming through just being becoming aware of business acumen and just the way that business is run and learning that strategy is key. And I'll tell the people about a little bit about our programs. So COAC Cares is um our big program, right? That's our flagship program. That's how we partner with community leaders all across the state of Georgia, all across Atlanta. Um, you
and
know,
now Alabama.
and now Alabama, we're expanding. Shout out to Birmingham. We're trying to do some things. But it is something that
No trying, you're doing.
we're
It's
doing it.
happening.
Yeah, it's happening. That actually, COAC Cares was a vision. Everything that I do with COAC, and I think everybody may get the gist now. It has literally been a vision of God. God literally guides every step. He tells me every move. We work through everything, and it's only through God. It is never naturally just, hey, I want to do this. You know what I'm saying? It's no, God said, we're going to do it this way and this is how we do it, and I think that's a big difference because it shows in a lot of the work that we do. But COAC Cares is one of those. He said, well, I did an event way back in my 20s with Hosea Feed the Hungry, and I talked a little bit about that
Way
earlier.
back in the 20s anyway. We're not getting we're not getting into it.
Over 20 years ago. You
Look
know,
at her, y'all. I just
over. Look, what did I say in the beginning? I'm 42. I'm 42. You know, I love it. 40s are going to be amazing. But
this decade yet.
well, back in my 20s, I did an event with Hosea Feed the Hungry, and I was in a place at that time. I was acting in a volunteer space, but I was at the top. They did these big events, these big wraparound events. And they typically did them in during the holidays. And there was back in the day we didn't have the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. If you're from ATL, you know the Georgia Dome was real back then, but we did them at the Georgia Dome. And I had the opportunity to be one of the people who would take the count of all of the unhoused people that would come in. So I would be asking them questions like, where are they from? You know, do they live anywhere? You know, how long have they been unhoused? All those types of questions, right? To full circle moment, 20 years later in COAC Cares, we we also have a wraparound program to where we now um, are able to provide like haircuts and showers and food and healthcare checks, just like blood pressure checks and um, COVID testing and chiropractic services. And shout out to Tiffany once again, the GOAT, like we said, she does her facials. She gives people facials. We have people who do massages. We have a beautiful Harriet Tubman Foot Clinic. They come every time and they care for the feet of the homeless out there, and they do phenomenal work. I'm like transformational, excuse me, just transformational work that they do. um and we have a good time. We eat, we give them hygiene packets, we let them sign up for, Medicare, Medicaid, free cell phones if you need it, we got it, tablets if you need it, you got it, and it is literally a space of being in a place where we truly want somebody to feel cared for. Oftentimes we get out into the world and we see people who act like they care. They may throw a little money, but they don't really care. They just want to look like they do good. We see it when we go downtown. People come, they just open up their trunk, and the unhoused people just come rush to get the food that they have. They close their trunk and then they're off. We spend time walking and talking and praying and just hugging and loving on somebody and literally smiling and just being a vessel for what God literally has for them that day, to
Yeah.
transform people's lives, to transform. And that's all in COAC Cares. That's all the things we do. And we do that in the parks. We've been doing that in the parks of around Atlanta. And we do it quarterly. And That's been a blessing, all from a vision, all from being in a space over 20 years ago, watching Hosea Feed the Hungry, watching how they handled the unhoused community. They're much larger scale, helping thousands and thousands. And then one day, I pray that COAC can get to those spaces where we're making deeper impact in those types of spaces. But
You
he
will.
has his hands on us. Yeah, he has his hands on
It's
us.
on
And
its
so
way. It's on
it's
its way.
amazing. It's on its way. It's on its way. And co-ed cares is that's just the base, right? So a lot of organizations, a lot of people love that one. But the true go is our co-ed feeds. That's our monthly program. We get out and we walk. We walk the streets of Atlanta, and we are giving food, and we're partnering with places like TC's Kitchen, and we're making sure that people are fed in those spaces. And sometimes it's not always in the spaces. Sometimes it's with the children that we're doing it with, at these community centers, or sometimes it's with the seniors. You know what I mean? But COAC fees is um, um, not necessarily just the feeding. That's the start of it. We always give out hygiene kits and we always give waters, but especially when we're downtown, um, people are pretty much in a hard space, and we get a chance to see children out there in the streets, and we get a chance to talk and pray with people while we're providing them with things that maybe they haven't had today.
Yeah.
um I remember one guy when we really started to do it, and we got out there. It was one guy, initial appearance, somebody, the natural person may just walk past him, but he had come up to us and he was kind of shaking, and we gave him a bag of food and some water, and it changed my life because he said, "Oh my God," he said, "Thank you." He said, "Thank you." He said, "I just came from my chemotherapy treatment." He was like, "And I wasn't sure how I was going to eat today." He was like, "And when you take chemo," he's like, "you got to have something on your stomach, and I don't have anything." Um and he's like, "And so when he said, I'm coming back to go up under my tree, my spot where I go," he said, "but this is going to help me." And he just began to put it in his pocket and walk away. Right. And I just was, it, it literally, you know, I, that changed the framework in my mind, because you don't know what these people are going through, and you don't know where they come from. You don't know their story. And when I know how people treat individuals who are worse off than they are, they tend to judge them, and they tend to look down on them, and they tend to walk past them as if they don't exist, and like they don't have a story. And there's so many people who seem to say, oh, well, you, if I'm able to work, you should be able to get up and out there at work. It doesn't work like that for everybody. You know what I mean? People are literally living on the street and working. People have their work outfits on, but they gotta come, they don't have a place to live. And with the rising number of what we could do, everybody knows what's going on in the US. There are more and more people who are considered middle Americans going down to a more impoverished state, losing their house, losing their footing, losing their grounding, losing their mental health, losing their health care in general, losing everything, and being forced to be put on the street. Some people didn't even have a way. They were brought into this life full of strife and horror and challenges, and just couldn't get past it because nobody showed them any other way. Yeah. You know, and so you just don't know. And when he said that, I just was like, you know what? Thank you, God. Just thank you for allowing us just to be in that space. Like, just to be able, because one day I went to church, there was a pastor, and she said, she had this notion and this model that I will always live by. And I tell people this even in passing: make your little your lot. So your little, whatever little bit you have, could be somebody else's lot. This could be somebody, this could be something that takes them, you know what I'm saying? It makes them greater. It gives them abundance. It gives them the things that they need in order to prosper. So
Yeah.
each little drop, when I say, if I have a smile to give and that's all I have to give, then that can literally change the trajectory of someone else's life. And so whatever your little is, I don't care how little you may think it is, that could literally help somebody else. And so we were literally helping that man because he had just come from chemotherapy and he wasn't sure how he was going to get food. And that just made me go, okay, this is
This is it.
this is it. This is just bigger than me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's bigger than everybody else. You know, it's just bigger. We have work to do. We have God's work to do, and
Come
we
on.
can't we can't afford to stop when we're tired. We can't afford. We have the ability and the grace to stop when we're tired. We have the resource to sleep. We have the bed to sleep in and go be cozy. We have the ability to complain. These people don't have the ability to do any of that. And we are passing them by like they are just whatever, you know, and that is not the model that I live by. And so if there are people who are with us who don't quite gel that way, I don't have them come back. I'm very particular on how we do what we do and who we do it with. We are
Yeah.
doing God's work. If you're not with that, please go do somewhere else. Go help somebody else. Go do what you want to do. But we are coming to spread positivity and light and joy, and we're feeding and we're pouring into people, and we don't need negative energy out that way. And so because we're so close to them,
Mhm.
I got to protect their space too. You know, they see so much of that out there. It's something when somebody who has light on them comes and brings the light to them, to be positive, to show them that God still exists. You were still thought of today. No, we don't know each other, but you were still thought of today. We still took time to come out for an hour. It literally is. It doesn't even take an hour sometimes. It takes 20 minutes on our COAC feed sometimes. It just, you know, we were there really just to help give you some nourishment, maybe a smile, maybe a hug. And so that's our COAC fees. That's COAC fees in a nutshell. And through that program, oh my gosh, we've helped thousands. I mean, you know, if you ever come to Atlanta, you're not from Atlanta, Atlanta has these parks, and in these parks live a lot of the unhoused individuals because that's just, they're getting kicked out of their houses and places. And so they kind of fellowship in these areas. And so when you come downtown, in the heart of downtown, across the street from the state capitol, across the street from the state capitol
The
are
Gold
thousands,
Dome. The Gold Dome.
the
Don't get me
Gold
started.
Dome,
Can we
thousands
not
of.
go off, please? Can we not go down this? This we'll be talking.
What are we talking about, Joseph? I mean, because These people,
Oh, it's so
they're literally across the street.
the
They're across
juxtaposition
the
of
street.
this whole camp, and
Yes,
it's right here.
there you go. And these people that come out of the state capitol, I've watched them walk right past them. I've watched them walk over them. I watched them not. I'm not gonna say what I want to say.
I know,
You
no, I
know,
know, I know.
it boggles me. It really boggles me because there are cities. Every city does it different, right? When there's a model that's happening in Texas where they have literally cut homelessness by 60%. They're doing something, right? They're doing something. So why can't we do it in a big city like Atlanta? If you got Houston and you got Dallas and you've got these places who are cutting homelessness by 60 something or more upward percent. That's huge. It's huge. Yes, it takes money. Yes, it takes leaders. Yes, it takes Congress. Yes, it takes, the people who are in the political seats that we have voted you into these offices and seats that we are asking you to help somebody that could be you. Somebody that could lose their job tomorrow and lose everything because sometimes it's a domino effect. These aren't people who just wanted to be outside. They didn't want to be outside. You know what I mean? Now that is a different story because sometimes there are people who do, but the majority of people really just want a roof over their head, a clean space to be, good food, clothes, and want to be able to be a productive citizen in the society that we live in. And I watch day in and day out how our systems that are set up make it hard for these people to do what they do. So it does take organizations like ours to help fill in some of the gaps. And I'm just so thankful that we can do just any part of what God has us to do in that sense. But yeah, I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole on that because politics is politics. I try not to get too far into it, you know, but I like to have those conversations because it really is real. And our newest program, which we just partnered with the National Incarceration Association and the Fulton County Jail System, and we are working with women who are being it's time for them to leave jail, and so we're working to help reduce the recidivism rates in Atlanta by creating sustainability.
Yep,
So that they don't do the things that they did that got them to jail in the first
yep.
place
As they reenter society,
as
and
they re-enter society. So we provide them with the Empower Her program. Is virtual because we can't meet with them face to face, but they get on a call every week, and we're doing all of the career readiness documents. We're making sure that they have those tools under their belt for the first 4 weeks. The next 4 weeks, shout out to Capital One. We work with Capital One cafes in Lenox, and that team is phenomenal. Shante and her team are phenomenal. They do our financial literacy in that program, and so the ladies get 4 weeks of financial literacy so that they not only now you can get a job, right? But now we want to teach you how to manage that money that you're getting, right? Because it's not that you can get a job because they've had jobs before. It's about how they utilize some of the things that they've utilized or been in such certain situations where they felt backed into a corner and that caused them to go in jail in the first place. So we want to give them the healthy tools and resources they need in order to thrive and be successful. And we've done about 2 cohorts. It's coming up on a year that we've been doing that with them. We're getting ready to do another cohort soon, and these ladies are they're coming out fully prepared to work. One young lady in the program, she actually left the program, and she was very adamant inside of the program, like, I want to make sure I get this, I want to make sure I get my resume done, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to apply for these jobs. She actually did end up, and just let me know about a few weeks ago, she's like, I got the job, I'm so happy, I'm so thankful, like I was like, She's like, I'm trying to move. Like I got my babies, my grandbabies, and I want to make sure that I'm there for them the way that I need to be. And I love to see results like that. I love to know that just any little seed that we have and just my resources, all from 9 to 5 now, mind you, all from these 9 to 5 moments that I just thought I was going to do my 9 to 5 with. We're helping other people, and we're helping people not make the same mistakes that they did. And me being able to act in a leadership capacity through God's leadership.
Mhm.
It goes that way. It has to be that way. And I think that is what's led to our success with some of these things. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go off, COAC.
You
Go off.
come on,
You know what I'm
Korak.
saying? You know what I'm saying? So
We
good.
tried.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, each and every day in each and every way. So, so good.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's COAC.
It's correct.
COAC. And the amazing things that they've been doing and continue to do. Um, just, I'm in awe.
Thank
Every time I
you.
think of the team, and again, like Tiffany and I, we go on these waves of like being locked in and communicating on all the
Yeah.
different things that all these
Yeah.
different nonprofits are doing and the different partnerships that you have and sponsorships. And then it'll be crickets for like a month and then pop back up. I'm like, you're alive? You good? What's up? What's going on at COAC? And then it's like, this is what's going on at COAC now. And it's so awesome just to, it's
Good.
so inspiring.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank
so,
you.
so inspiring. So,
Yeah.
um,
We couldn't do it without the team though, Joseph. The team has been pivotal. Tiffany is only one of the goats. We have another shout out to Tiffany, Derek Hott, and Chad Wright. You know, oh my gosh. God is whew, he's just such a good guy.
showing out and
Oh
showing
my
off.
God. The people that have come on the team, we have a working board, so it's a little different. Our board is not just figureheads that sit and maybe pop up every now and again at an event. Our board actually comes out. We work the events. They are active in the community. And often people have asked, well, how do you get people to do that for free? It's literally it's literally nothing but number one, number is nothing but God. But also but two, you have to show up the way that you want people to show up for you. You know? That's
There it
it.
is.
You can't be fake. Your energy got to be straight. And I'm not that type of person. I'm very true, very transparent, very honest, very genuine, and very pure-hearted in a lot of senses. And so in that, I attract those type of people, and I have great discernment and to know that who shouldn't be around and who can't be around. And if God literally says no, not that person, I have to go. No, I unfortunately can't go with that person. So making sure that you have the right team is key for any business. I don't care what you're doing, how you're doing it. Yes, we want more, but you got to have the right people on your team in order to get the more that you deserve, that your company and your whatever your vision is going to align with ultimately. And so they help with events. Chad is in Alabama. He's getting ready to be our branch manager as we begin to branch out and do some of these things that we're doing in Atlanta to do it in Birmingham. And you just like what?
Some people in Birmingham I gotta connect you with.
Please, we are looking to connect. We're having
Shout out to
conversations.
Danny Brister Jr.
Okay, I saw
Yes.
his episode.
Yep. So I gotta get you connected to my brother
Please,
Danny.
I love it.
The illustrious Cherie Jones. She is immaculate. We used to work together at a government tech space, a government tech company,
Okay,
and we both were there. I'll keep their name out of it. I'm not trying to get sued, but let's just say that company was
that's awesome.
um,
I got you.
especially how they did us. But Cherie
Yeah.
was is one of one still to this day. She had worked in the procurement space uh, for our country, right? And in DC, and her background, and she recently moved to Birmingham. I got her connected to Danny, and she's been helping him do a lot of different things. So I got some people in Birmingham for you. We're gonna get you plugged in, And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Joseph,
yeah, yeah.
listen. I
Look at
love it.
look at us, look at us, look at God.
Look at God.
So good. It takes a village.
It
It takes a
does.
village. It takes a team. No one gets anything done by themselves.
Mm-mm.
They don't. And when they take the credit for doing things by themselves, well, hey,
Right.
again, I'm not going to go off on that tangent. Um, but the tangent I would like to go off on
Yeah.
is that we're moving into the second portion of the show, and it's just come so quickly. I'm just like, yo, where's time gone?
Flying.
Where's time gone?
Yeah.
This is called In Good Light. So for our first time watchers, viewers, listeners, In Good Light is newly branded. It used to be Mind, Body, and Soul. In Good Light is just it just, the Good
Yeah.
Service Podcast, In Good Light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I love it.
uh
I see where you're going. I see what you do. Man. I do. I do. I see what you do.
appreciate it.
Yeah. I love
We
it.
try. No, we don't try. We do. We do. We
We
do.
do. You're
Um,
absolutely right.
so it's supposed to be a rapid fire round. Ask some
Yeah.
questions. It's fun questions to get to know you a little bit deeper. And of course, I was hoping there'd be one word answers or one sentence. Never that. But hey, good questions require good answers. So it is what it is. Um, so I want to start with your heart to serve. Where does that big old heart to serve come from?
My goodness. My mother. If you wanted one of more answers, but my mother. She has she's a philanthropist. She's a humanitarian. Um, if she hadn't introduced that into my life at such an early age, I probably would not know how important it was to give. And because of her, I do that with my kids and everybody else's kids. I believe in acts of service. I believe that is our portion here on earth to do. And I believe that's what God has placed us here to do. Everyone is to act and to serve, and to be of good fortune and help to others. And so I get it from her. I get it from her.
There's
I love it. Come on. Let's go. Let's
um
go. Wow. Hey,
and you've got a big heart to serve. Shout out to mom.
so
We love
mom.
that. It
Yeah.
always at some point it comes back to mom. I'm finding in a lot of the conversations and episodes or
Mhm.
dad, if you will. What's your definition of good service?
Man. My definition of good service is being obedient to God. Being obedient to God. I believe that God will always give you pieces of how you can help someone. And it doesn't always have to look like the space of helping the underserved or helping the unhoused. But God will always let you know how to help his people. And so being
Mhm.
obedient and listening and knowing what he's asked and called you to do, whether it's just sitting there with somebody. You never know how just sitting in your presence could help somebody in a depressed state who's going through mental challenges, who want to commit suicide, and they're doing it silently. But you being there to just sit sometimes can change and make or break someone. Um, and that's the biggest piece. Being obedient, listening to God, doing what your heart tells you to do. For those who can't hear God or who question God's voice, doing what your heart tells you to do. If you feel led to do it, go and do it. That's
Come
it.
on. Ooh, do it for the people that can't hear that
They can't.
haven't got that. Yo, that was special. We haven't got that. We haven't.
Yeah, some
And
people can't hear him.
told you some
I was a
episode.
person. I was a
Yeah.
person like that for a long time. I couldn't hear God's voice, and I just was doing things that was just I felt like they were in my gut to do.
Mm.
That in itself is God, but until you know that it's God, you won't know, right? And then some people don't identify that way, and that's okay too. There are good people that exist out in the world. Do what you're called and feel led to do. Help somebody. Help your common brother. Pick them up. Teach one. Each one teach one. That's a saying, right?
Mhm.
You
I
know,
recently heard we're all here to help each other home. And I was like,
that's
oh,
it. We
oh,
are. We are all here
damn,
to help.
that's good.
Everything we do, everything we touch, everything that we are is to help somebody home. That's it. Spiritual.
Service.
Yeah. Purpose.
Service.
Service is that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, so good. All right, finish this sentence. The world would be a better place if.
We smile more.
Say that's all it's gotta be.
That's it. We just have to smile more. Smile. You're
All it's
blessed
gotta
to be
be.
here. You're blessed to
It's
be here. You're blessed to
come
be here.
on,
Every
man.
time you wake up, every time you move, anything you touch, anything how you blink, your toes wiggle, you are blessed to be here, whether you are on the street, whether you are going through a hard time in your life. We are blessed. We don't take anything with us. When my son passed last year, I realized how blessed we are still be here. We're still to be
Mm,
here for God to have kept my family and is keeping my family through the midst and the trials and the struggles and the challenges and all the stuff and the ups and downs, the grief, the whatever. We are still blessed to be here. God keeps you no matter what it looks like. He keeps you. So smile more. It's a blessing to smile. It's a blessing to
and
be.
smile. To
Yeah.
have teeth, to chew, to be, you know what I'm saying? This is
It's a
like,
blessing. It's a blessing.
again, we can go bar for bar,
Yep.
blessing for blessing. I know that. I know that to be true.
Blessing for
Uh,
blessing.
we haven't gotten smile more, so
Just one more. Yeah. Just
I
one more.
love it. I love it. Okay, so this has been on my, and you brought it up a moment ago, the passing of your son a year ago, or a little over a year ago now. Two failed, thankfully, failed suicide attempts. Mental health is big
Mm.
on my heart. Suicide prevention, big on my heart. I've lost family and friends. You know, it truly is an illness.
Yes.
And you spoke on it earlier. You know, I want to take a moment. What would you say to our audience for those that may be going through something, just a takeaway for them, just a piece of hope, a piece of love, right? Something that during those moments wish you would have reminded yourself or knew to be true now.
Mhm.
What would you like to share with them in this moment? Or maybe someone that knows somebody that's struggling.
Yeah. I mean, now that's a loaded question because I have a loaded answer, but um, I would say in those moments, if I was talking to myself, right? It's easy to say that it's going to be okay, but when you don't know and you're in the throes of it, you don't know it's going to be okay, right? Um, I would say get the help that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Get the help. Don't shy away from the help. I think in our community especially, and I'm talking about the Black community, we are so um shove it under the rug, don't talk to it, we're not going to therapists, we're going to take it to God, and then if we don't hear God, well then God don't really exist. And in my life it's just so many things. But get the help. Get help when you feel something off or something wrong in your mind, in your body, in your spirit, and you feel something. Get the help, and it is okay to get the help that you need. To remove the stigma and the shame. That's where the enemy wants you. The enemy wants you in a
Mm-hmm.
place of fear. He wants to destroy you. He wants to kill you. When he has your mind, when he has your identity, he will destroy you. That's what he's designed to do. When you are able to break past that and get the help that you need, get on the medicine, people. Hear me now. The medicine helped me think beyond the chaos. Now, the psychiatric drugs, people will say that is what makes you crazy. That takes you down a rabbit hole. And for some people, maybe. For me, outside of the therapy, outside of getting my blood work done and looking at hormones and all of that, it was the medicine. Even outside of, if I'm talking outside of the framework of God, it was the medicine that literally altered my mind in a way that I literally could, like, if I had to explain it, I could come up out of myself and see the picture. Like, oh snap, I really am. Like, why am I going off like that over here with him? Or why do I feel like that over here with her? It helped me sort my thoughts out. It helped me think be healthy in the way that I think. It helped me to kind of just process. And what my psychiatrist explained at that time, it gives your brain a woosah, like your brain can go, let's take a break for a moment. Let's just, see things for what they really are. This is like, if this is giving you anxiety, now you can process why it gave you anxiety. If this is a trigger point for you, now you can process why this is a trigger point for you. If this is causing you to be sad, now you can process why this is causing you to be sad. And then acceptance. You have to accept sometimes that there is a mental illness going on. And for some people, this may be the rest of your life. Maybe. You have to accept what's in front of you. Most people spend time in denial, and we then go into these circles. Denial doesn't create an end to a good means. It just doesn't. You stay in this cycle of denial and oppression, and I hope nobody sees it because I don't really feel it. I'm not gonna tell anybody that I feel this way. Or if I do something else, maybe I can trick myself into thinking that I'm not this. I don't feel this way. When in reality, if you accept, which is hard to do, to accept that something is going on, then to go get the help for that thing that's going on, then to go, if they say meds, try the meds. If that's what you're led to do, try the meds, and then just going through the process. Me being okay to say out loud, I had a team of people. It wasn't just me, because I was trying to do it by myself and trying to hide and sweep things on the rug for so long. It wasn't just me. I took a team of my PCP, my therapist, my psychiatrist, the medicines, the vitamins, the talking releases those negative thoughts. Talk it out. Whether you have the means to get the team of people or not, talk it out. Don't talk to yourself. Talk to somebody who you can trust. If you can't trust somebody, see how you can find a reliable source. You know what I mean? Sometimes they have this service called headway.com. You can find services on there for little to nothing, and you can get the therapy that you need just to talk it out. Talking shifts energies. It shifts energy. And so if you have some negative built up energy and you can't find anybody, you can't find a therapist, you have nothing to your name, you have $0 in the bank, get you a pen and paper and write it. Write it out. Get it out your system. Get it out your mind. Get it out your body. You can keep it in a journal. You can ball it up, throw it in a fire, write it. Write it. Get it out. That's the piece. Keep it moving. Put one foot in front of the other. It's not always easy to do, because when you are truly depressed, I think people sometimes now loosely throw that word out there in a loose manner. Oh, I'm so depressed. Really, you're just sad for the day, right? I'm so depressed. Depression isn't just a sadness. Depression is a full body experience. Your body aches. Your hair hurts when you brush it. To roll over to the other side hurts. To just put one foot in front of the other hurts. So it isn't as simple as saying put one foot in front of the other. But in reality, you can. You can get up, no matter how it hurts, no matter how heavy your body is, no matter how much the voices are beating you down today, you can get up and you can make a choice. And if you can make a choice, then you can walk, you can move, you can work out, you can write, you can go visit your therapist, you can take the medicine, you can do something, because God is giving you the ability to do it. Don't let the enemy think and tell you that you can't, because it will. You can get up and you can move and you can keep going, no matter how it looks, no matter how hard it is, no matter what it looks like. No matter what it looks like, God has gifted you this life. Get up, move, and shift that energy, and know that it may not always look that way. For some people, it may not always look that way. Mine was a depression that, to this day, I will say this, just only because I learned it spiritually, and I'm extremely spiritual in nature, and God is my way. Um, I learned that mine was, and I don't want to go too far, but here we go. Mine was more of a possession, more of a demonic possession. It required deliverance, and I believe that with a lot of depression and mental illnesses, there is a deliverance that is required. But you first have to understand what deliverance is and how deliverance isn't what it looks like on TV. If you're just watching on TV and a pastor just puts his hand on you and you just you're shaking and all that. That's not what deliverance is. Deliverance, it can look like that for some people, but then those people go back out and do the same thing that got them there in the first place. Deliverance is literally an act of obedience. When God clears the path for you to be better, you have to follow his order. You have to follow his lead if you are feeling led that way to do it. For me, it literally, I can sit here and stand here to this day and tell you that I'm depression free, I'm suicide free, I'm anxiety free because I listened to God, I followed him. He told me what to do, and it took years, but he told me what to do. And because I listened, the key acts of deliverance is obedience. Number one, obedience. That's the key. If you're looking for the key and somebody don't have the key, you try to figure out how you're going to do all this and that. The key is obedience. If you want to turn the door open, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to get across the street, if you want to go over the hill, listen to God. Listen to that little voice. Listen to your gut. If you know you're not supposed to be in that situation, don't go. If you knew that person was going to do that, don't go with that person anymore. If you know what I'm saying? If you feel pulls of energy pulling you to do things that you know are not your normal, don't hang around that person. Don't be in those situations. Literally be obedient in every aspect of your life. If God says, hey, stop smoking, stop drinking, for some people that's going to be hard to do. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't hard for me to do, but he's going to be hard for a lot of people to do because that's what we do. That's culture. That's society. If God says if I'm asking you to stop smoking that weed, if I'm asking you to stop drinking that liquor, because these are the things that catapult and keep you in a depressive cycle, because this is what you do when you're depressed, right? And I'm telling you to let that go, let it go. Fast. Listen to God. You don't always have to go to church, but get into the Bible, get into the word, know who he is for yourself. And so once I started to do that, there's a full on, I mean, I don't have the perfect formula. I have a formula that works for me and that continues to work for me. That is what I would tell people. Obedience. Obedience. Be obedient. Be obedient.
Y'all heard her. Acceptance,
Accept it.
obedience.
Yeah.
Have your people in your corner. Go find them.
Yep.
There are free resources if you don't have the resources
Yeah.
to build that team just yet. Keep having faith. Keep having hope. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. So
Yeah.
things unseen. Things unseen. So just know that if you want to feel better and get to a better state, you can. It's just a matter of, again, some of those few things. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. I say all the time, vulnerability is strength. And you are a
Thank
very
you.
strong woman,
Thank
a very
you.
strong leader.
Thank
So
you.
just a very strong person. So I really appreciate you sharing your heart with us, and how you've had triumph over your trials.
Thank you.
So that's just a beautiful thing. This is the worst part of it all. Before we go, it's as it sounds.
Yes.
The end of the show, the end of the
Yes.
conversation. For those of you who are here for the first time, literally, this is it. This is it. Where we're at. So I'm going to turn the floor over twice more actually, to you, Evalye, to shamelessly share how can everyone find you, support COAC, donate, volunteer, socials. The floor is yours. So please share what that looks like.
So much. Joseph, for one, just having me on your podcast. This was just such a blessing, and I'm so happy that we connected almost a year ago. It's crazy to believe now, I love the good things that the Good Service podcast is doing. I love that you are truly a man of character and integrity, and that you really are someone who cares about the community. And that shows just in everything that you do, how you speak, and how you move. And so I'm just grateful to be in a space of likelihood with the both of us. But yes, if you wanted to follow COAC, please, you can follow us on Instagram at COAC_GA. Same on Facebook. But a lot of our things that we're posting is going to be on Instagram. If you want to donate, if you want to volunteer, please visit our website at coacservices.com. And there you will find the links to donate, to sign up to be a volunteer. And you'll hear from me and my lovely team of beautiful, beautiful people. And that is the way to get in contact with us. And yeah, that's it. Those are our socials and our website.
Y'all heard her.
Yeah.
Go follow on Instagram, COAC_GA. And then to donate, to volunteer, to stay even more locked in with this amazing organization, these beautiful people, it's coacservices.com. Very simple. We'll have all that in the write-up, so you don't worry your little heart about that, Evalye. I said I'm giving you the floor twice over, so that was one. Closing remarks. Anything that's just immediately on your heart that you want to share with the people quickly on today as they listen?
Of course. I would love to say in closing, love your common brother, love your common sister. Love is the key. Love is how we should be positioned here on the earth. Love is what causes breakthroughs. It causes deliverance. It causes the person who's experiencing the depression and the suicide tendencies and the suicide thoughts. Love is the key. Don't judge. Be gracious. Be gracious to yourself. Love yourself. That is what I'd love to leave people with. Every time that we go out into the field and do the work, that's what we lead with. That's who we are. We give grace where there is grace that is needed. We don't judge, and we meet people where they are every time, every time. If we have the resources to help, we are going to be in that space to do so. So love and be gracious. That's it.
The golden rule. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself.
There you go. Boom.
Do unto others as you want done to yourself. Yeah. Common sense isn't so common, but you heard her. Be loving and do it with a smile on your face, because that's what she believes will make this world a better place. And I'm going to co-sign that.
Co-sign.
Co-signing that. Well, y'all, for our first timers, we thank you for joining, watching, listening, however you came across this conversation, this beautiful episode. We know you're going to come back. We're your source, your number one source globally in the world for good news, wholesome stories, inspiring stories about the things that Evalye Alexander, COAC, other organizations are doing, the work, the impactful work, the meaningful work. So for those that continue to come back, thank you. Again, we love you. We thank you for the referrals. Again, the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, everything, how you are truly sharing the good news of what's going on in this beautiful world. So we wouldn't be here without you. We're not going to touch all four corners of the world. So please keep doing all of those things. You know where to find us, the Good Service Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, of course, and all streaming services. So within that, I love y'all. I hate to say it's time to go, but it's time to go. We'll see you soon for another amazing episode of the Good Service Podcast.